Do you have a heart-wrenching story or an inspiring one that you would like to share with our community? Share it here, and you could see your story on our channel. The rain poured heavily that night as Daniel stood at the small wooden porch of his rundown house, staring at the flickering porch light. He had just put his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, to bed after another exhausting day of work and bills. Life hadn't been kind to him since his wife passed away 3 years ago. Between juggling construction jobs and raising Lily alone, Daniel was drowning in overdue rent notices and the constant fear of losing their only home. That's when the knock came. Daniel frowned. No one ever came to visit this late. When he opened the door, a young woman stood before him, soaked from head to toe, clutching a backpack against her chest. She looked no older than 20. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Hi. I saw the ad about the spare room for rent. Is it still available?" Daniel blinked in surprise. He had forgotten he'd even posted that notice on the college board weeks ago, desperate for a little extra income to cover the mortgage. He studied her carefully. She was shivering, her shoes muddy, but her eyes, they held a strange mix of pride and quiet desperation. "Yes," he said after a pause, stepping aside. "Come in, you must be freezing." Her name was Emily. She was a college freshman, looking for a quiet place to stay away from campus noise. What Daniel didn't know, what Emily hid carefully, was that she was the daughter of Richard Walker, one of the wealthiest businessmen in the state. But Emily had run away. She was tired of living in a golden cage where every decision was made for her. She wanted to be treated like a normal girl, not the heir to millions. Over the next few weeks, Emily adjusted to her new life in Daniel's modest home. The house was small, the furniture worn, and sometimes the electricity flickered off, but it felt warmer than the mansion she'd left behind. She grew especially close to little Lily, who adored her instantly. Emily helped her with homework, braided her hair before school, and even taught her how to bake cookies in the tiny oven. For Daniel, who often left before dawn and came home after dark, Emily's presence was like a quiet blessing.
Ow.
But life wasn't without challenges. Daniel's construction company was struggling, and he was behind on payments again. One evening, Emily overheard him on the phone, his voice breaking as he begged the bank for more time. "Please, just a few more weeks. I can't lose this house. My daughter, she needs a roof over her head." Emily's chest tightened. She wanted to help, but she couldn't reveal who she was. If Daniel found out she came from wealth, he might push her away, thinking she didn't belong in their world. And worse, he might think she had been pitying them. The breaking point came when Lily fell sick one night. Daniel rushed her to the hospital, but when the nurse asked about insurance, he froze. His policy had lapsed. He held his daughter's hand tightly, whispering, "Don't worry, baby. Daddy's here." Emily saw the panic in his eyes and stepped forward. Without hesitation, she pulled out her student card and quietly covered the hospital deposit with the savings. She had brought in cash. Daniel tried to protest, but Emily said firmly, "She's family. Don't argue with me." That night, while Lily slept peacefully in the hospital bed, Daniel turned to Emily. His voice was thick with emotion. "You've done so much for us. And you barely even know me. Why? Why would you care?" Emily's eyes welled with tears. She wanted to tell him everything, but instead she whispered, "Because I know what it feels like to be alone, and because I care about you and Lily." But secrets never stay hidden forever. One afternoon, a black luxury car pulled up outside the modest house. Daniel was repairing the porch steps when a tall, stern man in an expensive suit got out. Richard Walker, Millie's father. His eyes scanned the shabby little home with disgust before landing on Daniel. "Where's my daughter?" he demanded. Daniel froze. Moments later, Emily came running out. "Dad, please don't." Her face was pale as she begged him to leave. But the truth spilled out: her last name, her family's fortune, everything Daniel had never imagined. He stared at her in stunned silence. All this time she had been living under his roof, sharing meals, laughing with Lily, acting like one of them. And yet, she was from a world far beyond his reach. "I should have told you," Emily said softly, tears streaking her cheeks. "But I didn't want to be treated differently. I just wanted to belong somewhere real." Richard sneered at Daniel. "You think you can provide her the life she deserves? Look around. This place is falling apart. She's coming home with me." Emily shook her head fiercely. "No, Dad. This is my home now. With them, they've given me more love than money ever could. For the first time in years, Daniel found his voice firm and unshaken. He stepped between Emily and her father. Sir, I may not have wealth, but I'd never let her feel unwanted. If she chooses to stay, that's her decision. There was a long silence. Richard's jaw tightened, but when he saw the fire in his daughter's eyes, he realized he couldn't force her. With a final glare, he got back into his car and drove away. Emily broke down, sobbing into Daniel's arms. I'm sorry I lied. I didn't want money to be the reason you kept me here. Daniel gently lifted her chin, his voice steady. Emily, money doesn't raise a child. Money doesn't make a family. Heart does, and you've already proven yours. From that day forward, Emily stayed not as a tenant, but as part of their little family. She continued her studies, helped Lily grow, and slowly, a bond of love and trust blossomed between her and Daniel. She was no longer just the millionaire's daughter. She was the girl who chose love over luxury, family over fortune. And for Daniel and Lily, she became the piece they never knew their hearts had been missing.